I've had to restart this recording twice. First the battery ran out, and then the card got full. Here we go. Hello, and another week has passed. The last full school week before the first term ends next week. Next week is only 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then I'm off until January 11th, I think. So that's pretty nice. So this past week was full of tests, because we're in finals. I want to say finals week, but it's not really finals week. It's more like finals period, because it's kind of like 1.5, almost 2 weeks of finals. They're pretty spaced out though. We've been studying Keigo, as I said last time, I think. More of that. Still trying. I realized that the problem I was having with it really is not that the hard part is not just memorizing the various words like ikimasu. Instead of that, it's irashaimasu, and that also covers kimasu and imasu. And iimasu is like oshaimasu and stuff like that. But remembering those is the one thing. The problem I have is understanding when to use which form, because it's the Sonkeigo and Kenjogo. And Sonkeigo is when you're speaking about someone else, and Kenjogo is when you're speaking about yourself. Also, it's just my brain is not perfect. In general, I always make some kind of dumb error, one or two at least, sometimes, just because I'm imperfect, to say the least. There was one homework recently where actually I got -6 points for no good reason, because I didn't answer a question. One was on a test, and no, both of them were homeworks. But anyway, I just didn't answer one, which is ridiculous. But the problem is that 95% of the time there is the question, not the question, but they're like, the problem is in the spaces fill in blah blah. Then it's the example, and that's just a fully whatever. And then question number one, question number 2, 3, 4, etc. And then every so often it's just the subject line, so to speak, and then it's straight to the questions. So it happened to me twice, I think just this past week, that I didn't fill out the first question, which is right under the subject moment. I think because I expected that to be, that's always an example, so I don't need to look at it. I just jump straight to the third line, so to speak. And then I got minus points that I shouldn't have gotten, because I just didn't fill out the fucking thing, which is stupid. Results-wise, I can report that on Monday we had a listening comprehension test, and I got 86 out of 100, which is good, but I honestly should have gotten a little more, just because the test itself was a little. Usually, when it is those, it's either you either just have blah 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 and then pick A, B, or C, and then that's just pick the right one or you don't pick the right one, so that's fine. And then there's ones where you're supposed to fill in blanks in sentences, pretty much, and the sentences are those that they are speaking on the CD that they play, and those are just because they play it 3 or 4 times, so by the third or fourth time you do have a usually pretty good idea of what they said. First time, forget about it. Second time, possibly. Third time, yes, probably. And then last time, definitely. But there was one question in the middle of that one that was just... I did it the same way I did everything else. I just filled in exactly what they said, sort of. But I wasn't supposed to do that. The question was, blah, 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 where is the person living or something? And then I just wrote exactly what they said, but that's not how I'm supposed to answer it, because that's kind of separate when it's just a question instead of filling in the blanks. And I wasn't expecting that, and I think they probably expected that I didn't expect it. So that's kind of a tricky way from them to see if I'm paying attention or something. Don't really like when it goes like that, but at least now I know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Had a achievement test on Wednesday, which I got an 83 out of 100 on, which is standard for me. I would always on those I want to get over 90, but I've only done so pretty much once. But 83 is fine. On Thursday we had the strict teacher, and we had the reading comprehension test and the second out of 3 pronunciation tests. And that's, I guess, well, it is a test, but it's not in this regular sense. They just have 7 sentences, and you have to say 2 of them. But they, unlike when you're just doing pronunciation in a regular class, they don't correct you. They just pretty much hear you, listen to you say it, and then they write some kind of note, which looks kind of weird. I wonder what they're writing there. Probably, oh, that was pretty good, but something or other. So I did that. I was a little worried about it because it was with the strict teacher who's really, really specific with how you say things. Since they don't try to correct you on the spot, it didn't really have an effect. And the reading I was a little worried about because I had that test in the midterm where I screwed up and got like 33 out of 50 or whatever. And this one I was not sure about what I was reading exactly. I knew actually what I was reading because I read the text and I understood most of it. The problem was the questions, because the questions aren't exactly... A lot of them are just like, this is the question, and then you go straight to the text and like, oh, here it says this, so that means that's true, or whatever it is. And you can find the answer straight from the text, but a few of them are kind of like the answers lies in between the lines, so to speak, and those are really tricky, and I didn't think I was going to get really a good result on that one, but I got 46.5 out of 50, which is 93, so that was way better than I expected. And on Friday there was the conversation test, which actually was a conversation. We had to go in one at a time to the small room where we sit one-on-one with the teacher and talk about one of 5 subjects. It was, again, random, so you had to study all 5 of them beforehand. I got one where we had to discuss where to go on a vacation. I did fine, okay, not great, but definitely not terrible. Although it started out pretty bad, because basically I didn't know how to start. I thought it would start by her asking me something, but basically she's like, okay, so I'm this person, and you ask me about traveling or something. And then she waited for me to say something. I turned into the guy at the prom trying to ask someone to dance or something. I just got like, I don't have no idea what to say. Right? I don't know how to start the conversation exactly. It would felt weird to just say like, let's go on a vacation or something. So it was a long awkward silence before I actually said something. But otherwise it went pretty good. So far so good, I would say, with the finals tests. We have 3 more days, 3 more tests, sort of, or 4 actually. On Monday it's the most important one, tomorrow, because it's the grammar test, and you have to get 60% or higher, otherwise you will not be allowed to go to the next class. But I'm not really worried that I will get less than 60, because on all I always gotten over 80 and sometimes 90. The one reading one where I had 33 out of 50, which equals to 66 out of 100, that was below. But yeah, I'm not too worried. And also we got a big bunch of papers which were consisted of, I think, 6 A3 sized papers with something on both sides, so with all sorts of things. Were basically just questions from everything we studied. A total of 227 individual questions, so to speak, or things you could get right. So I went through all of it, and we also got like a answer sheet afterwards, and I had 192 out of 227, which with the help of a website, because I don't know counting percentages that well, I'm not good at math, so it was 84.5%, with which really it was probably more like 80. It was at least over 80, but something, because a few, maybe 2 or 3 of the ones that I got correctly were kind of cheating, because I was actually scratching my head to the point that I actually did look at the answers for those. So those shouldn't really be counted, but I've still counted them, so at least it was over 80, and it was a whole bunch of them. There won't be as many questions or whatever you call it on the actual test coming up. So I'm fairly sure that I'm at least unless I get a brain hemorrhage or something, I'm gonna get over 80 at least. So just but I have to keep reading. I have to read the questions carefully, because I noticed a problem with myself, and assume I just skip over it a little too fast. I read it a little too fast. I'm like, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this. But I have to take every question as with the same importance as the rest, which is kind of hard to do, surprisingly. On Tuesday, it's a final kanji test, which is I got to see a last term's one from a fellow student, and first part is just simple, like here's a kanji, write down the reading. Here's hiragana, write down the kanji, and that kind of stuff. But then at the end, there's this weird Sudoku-looking things where there's like a cross, and there's kanji, 4 of them, and then in the middle one, you have to write down a kanji that that makes a word with the one next to it. It doesn't have to go 3 kanjis in a row, but it has to go work with those and those and those. It's kind of like crossword puzzle for kanjis, sort of. And that will be tricky. I don't know exactly how they're going to score that, if it's just the correct one or it's not the correct one, or they like pick, okay, so you got 2 words that work and 2 that don't, so you get 2 out of 4 points, or what. But I'm somewhat confident with the kanji. On all the small 10 out of 10 ones we do daily, almost daily, I've gotten usually 8, 9, or 10, and actually gotten 10 out of 10 on those over 10 times this term. So fairly confident on that one, even though I shouldn't be too confident because then I make mistakes. And on Wednesday it's the last of the pronunciation ones, and then the speech contest. I said that weird. Speech contest, and I've written the text for that, and I've got it, I got notes on it and everything. So now I just have to sort of memorize it, because you don't have to 100% memorize it, but I think you get a better score if you don't look at your script. If you just stand there and talk just from your script, I think you get a lesser amount of points or whatever. Yeah, and the theme was Japanese, which is, great use of imagination there, guys. And I chose to write about words and expressions that I learned from video games that I can't really, in good conscience, use in real life, aka stuff I learned from Yakuza, pretty much. Like, that kind of stuff. Should be interesting. But I did get it cleared with the teacher, though, so even though there are a couple bad words in there, she allowed me to do it, so hopefully no one will choke on their monocles or anything on Wednesday. And that's also the ending ceremony and everything, and hopefully I don't know if we'll get a grade exactly with like a totals of everything and stuff. According to classmate, you will get a grade. Apparently in Japan they have A to F like in America, but they also have S rank, which I thought was games only actually, but no, apparently Japanese schools also has that. But of course, if they will list like this subject, if I get like an A and then an S and then an S, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen. But I will laugh if that happens, because that's just how mature I am. So yeah, next week will be interesting. There will be the tests, the speech, which probably will be a nervous thing. On Friday I'm going to Okinawa. On Sunday it's Christmas Eve, which I will spend on the beach. Hopefully it won't rain or anything, but it's Okinawa, so I've got good hopes for that one. Yeah, exciting times at the moment, still. And now for some games. So, first game I got was Hook. What a boring label on this one. A lot of people like this game. I think it's one of the better licensed movie games, which it sort of is, but it's not good enough for me, I would say. It's a platformer. It has really good graphics. It has some good ideas with being able to fly using Tinkerbell's fairy dust. It's made by the same people who made Skyblazer, and Skyblazer is a way better game than this. The problem with this is it's really fucking slow, first of all, and that extends to the main character's ability to swing his sword, because it's a delay. It's delayed like Castlevania, pretty much, but the game is not built like Castlevania, so it becomes really frustrating. And yeah, in general, it's frustrating. It's slow plotting. I don't like it too much, and I'm getting rid of it. So yeah, that's one of those. Next one is an interesting one. 3 times 3 eyes. Juma Hokan. Excuse me, that's written in really tiny letters. So yeah, 3 times 3 eyes, 3x 3 eyes, whatever. It's called Sazan eyes in Japanese, but fuck if I know how to pronounce it. But it's based on an anime or manga apparently, and there was 2 games on Super Famicom. One is just an RPG, and the second one is this one is an interesting one. It's like kind of a side-scrolling adventure game with some action parts, even though I didn't get to one when I was trying it out. Reminds me of, I don't know, Nightshade for Nintendo maybe. It's kind of like if point and click adventure game, except you don't point and click, you walk around, talk to people, and flick switches and pick up items and that kind of stuff. There is supposed to be some kind of action at some point, but I don't know what kind of action. The atmosphere is nice. The graphics are good. The big problem, I would say, with games and text is basically 2 choices. Either the game just rolls the text by itself, or you have to press a button to move to the next text bit. And unfortunately, this is not the one where you have to press the button yourself, which some people, if they're fluent, I guess, can think is convenient. But for me, it's just a bother, because I want to look at the text for a long time to understand it and or look something up or something. But here it scrolls by, so I don't have the chance to take it all in, so to speak. Although on the other hand, it might be an opportunity to practice my speed reading. On the other hand, I didn't pay a lot of money for it, only like 300 yen or so it's not a big loss if it takes me a long time to figure it out. Next up is Super Draken. It's the sequel to Draken, and Draken, or however you say that, came out in the West. It was apparently a very slow-ass RPG with oddly progressive 3D graphics, even though it was really slow and everything. The second one is more like a beat 'em up sort of. It has RPG. It's more like an action RPG. It's called Dragon View in the West, and the channel SNES Drunk liked that game a lot, so I looked up the Japanese title and found it for not that much money. And so yeah, it looks like a good one. Then moving on to Famicom temporarily, I got Rambo, which is, despite the AVGN movie, is not that bad of a game. And this was only, I don't remember exactly, but under 1,000 yen anyway. Yeah, it's it's Zelda 2 clone. It's decent. It's not that good. It's not that bad. The only interesting thing I have to say about this one is that the Japanese version has some weird text on the title screen. Next, back to Super Famicom. Goof Troop. I never really watched that show when I was a kid, so I know that it existed, but I never really watched it. The Goof Troop on Super Famicom is made by Capcom, or produced by Capcom, it says here, but yeah, it's Capcom. It's a top-down adventure puzzle-ish game with 2 players, and it's kind of like if you were doing Zelda dungeons with 2 people, sort of. That's kind of the feeling, although it's, of course, the tone is pretty light. But yeah, one I've been looking for a while. I never really saw it in any of the video game stores, and then I saw it in this one, so I had to get it. And now for my the 2 most expensive games I bought this week. Both of them for around almost exactly 3,400 yen, which is not a whole lot, but by contrast to everything else I bought, is one of the more expensive ones. There was pretty much a hit and a miss. And I'll start with a miss, even though I'm not 100% sure about it yet. It's Pizza Pop. The exclamation mark makes it look like it says Pizza Pops, but it's Pizza Pop. A cartoony, a game that's, interestingly, I like everything about it except the gameplay right now. Anyway, I like the graphics, I like the music, I like the humor, I like the style or whatever. I like everything but the gameplay. the gameplay is so far pretty annoying. You can either jump on enemies or you can whack them with, I guess, like a spatula of some kind. One of those things that they pull up pizzas with. The problem is that your spatula thing is a little delayed, and if you do it in the air, your jump gets kind of interrupted. The hitboxes are off, so it's really hard to kill enemies. And luckily, you do have a life bar, otherwise I probably wouldn't have bought the game at all. But it's still really damn frustrating to just even beat the first level. But I want to play more, because it's kind of like Panic Restaurant in a way. Not as creative as that, but I want to like this game, especially because it's pretty somewhat rare. So I would like to have this game in my collection, but if I don't like the game, I don't want to keep it either. So right now I'm debating, and I'm going to play it more to see if I want to sell it or keep it. The other game though I do want to keep, it's ActRaiser 2. I've seen and I've thought about ActRaiser 1 a lot of times, but I don't want to do the city building things. I don't think that's entertaining in the slightest. I just want to play a cool side-scrolling game, so I want half of ActRaiser 2. It's the same problem that I have with Guardian Legend, Guardic Gaiden as it's called in Japan, where half of the game is a space shooter, and I don't like space shooters, and the other half is like a Zelda game, which I do like. I still haven't bought that one. I've seen it several times. Do I really want to buy it when I only want half the game? This one, however, is just a platformer. Apparently it's really difficult, and it is very Castlevania-like. It's pretty stiff and hard, but well thought out at the same time, I think. So it's probably a pretty frustrating game as you try to beat it, but great graphics, better price than I expected at 3,480 or whatever it was, and I do want to keep it. So that's it for actual games, but there's more. I saw, shortly after I went to Osaka for the Yakuza event, I saw that an article or whatever, also on Twitter I think, that special merchandise was going to be sold at Sega, which is basically Club Sega, but Sega Avion or something, in Osaka and in Kamurocho, Tokyo, I mean. So I went to Osaka to buy, the extra stuff was Yakuza chopsticks, Yakuza plates, and pogs or something. I'm not interested in that, but I wanted the chopsticks and the plates. Thing is that the Kiryu and Majima chopsticks were all sold out, and the only one left was Godaryuji, which at the first I want that too, but then when I actually saw them, I saw that unlike the picture from the website, they don't look gold, they just look yellow. So, and I actually wanted the Kiryu ones more, because they're really, really classy with everything black and everything, but they were sold out. So I did buy the plates, however that was a little bit of a disappointment because they're tiny. What am I supposed to put on these exactly? Okay, I didn't expect them to be full size, but I did expect them to be a little bigger than this, although they're still pretty cool. There's Kiryu, that was actually Goda. Here's Majima, and here's Kiryu. So, I'm not sure, as I said, what to put on those. It's not a coaster either, so not entirely sure if I'm going to keep those or if I'm going to sell them to an Yakuza fan who will appreciate them more than me. But, however, I did see another piece of merch there that I didn't know existed, and as far as I know, that was also new. So, yeah, hold on a second. It's a towel of Godaryuji's Kinryu Dragon. Pretty damn awesome. Same price as the plates, which made me spend 6,000 yen in total, which I didn't want to spend that much now, but I had to get this. This is too awesome not to buy. Of course, it's one of those really thin towels, so it's as just a plain towel. It doesn't dry as well as another towel would, but it's fucking awesome. I just want to put this on my wall instead. Almost. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, games-wise, another good week. School-wise, interesting week. Life, good week. Everything is fine. live long and prosper another week. And I've never watched a Star Trek movie or very little of any TV show, so that was just me pandering to anyone out there who might like Star Trek. See you next Tecmo, and I mean week.